right, that like the only way to survive is to change. And I felt that not just in March 2020, I felt that like in October of 2015 when we first opened.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I remember the first year I was just throwing everything at the wall going, let's try this, let's try this, let's do this.
It's nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
This is the coolest place. I was walking around. Tell me how you started this.
Well, I kind of always wanted to have a bookstore, and then I went to Sicily around the age of 19, came back completely inspired. I had met my family there for the first time.
Oh, wow.
And my way of connecting with them was cooking Sicilian food. And so I started collecting Sicilian cookbooks, like cooking since I was a little kid, and I basically just tried to like roll all of my favorite things into one place.
So you're a creative force of nature.
Oh, I don't know, but
I'm going to describe
it does feel like a force. Like there is a force that's like forcing me to do all this stuff. And I don't know where it's coming from. It's a deep mystery, but I don't know if I'm a creative force of nature. But there's something going on propelling me. Yes.
Wow. Tell me, what is you? It's a bookstore.
Yeah.
It's a food store.
Yes.
It's all your passions.
We have in the store both shelved together new and vintage books, which felt important to me to kind of have everything together and not also only have new books, but to also have things that were, old community cookbooks and pamphlets and things that were out of print. And then also we've got a lot of Sicilian and Italian imported foods that are of the finest quality, like the kind of stuff that, it's a little pricier, but when you have it, it's like experiential.
So you take the guesswork out of it for people. They don't have to experiment and try a lot of different items. You have the best items here. That's great. When it comes to your cooking, you don't mess around.
I don't mess around. The thing I love about cookbooks are that they're so personal. And so I just cooked the food that I grew up with and the things that I love to make, and that was Sicilian food, and so that's the cafe. So it's a Sicilian cafe and a bookstore. And since the pandemic, we've also expanded into a grocery.
Wow.
And we're also doing events.
Well, because I think that was the secret for people that had to go through the pandemic as entrepreneurs. If you didn't get creative, if you didn't change it up and roll with things, you weren't going to make it through financially. And you changed it up. You started doing other things here that helped to bring people in.
Yeah, and I think that you're right, that like the only way to survive is to change. And I felt that not just in March 2020, I felt that like in October of 2015 when we first opened. You know what I mean? Like I remember the first year I was just throwing everything at the wall going, let's try this, let's try this, let's do this. And so when the pandemic hit, I was like, okay, people need food, like let's get them groceries. Like there's no fresh produce right now in a place that feels safe for people to go. Like they didn't want to go to the wonderful like grocery sources that we have in the neighborhood already because it was all indoor spaces, and they hadn't quite pivoted yet to figuring out how to deliver groceries in this way that made people feel safe.
So the question is, the $1 million question. There's a young person has these passions, or any age person who has these passions, and they want to tie them together and do something, that drive, they feel it, and to do it. What would you tell them?
Well, I think that you should first of all not worry about what sort of the path that society tells us is the path to get there. If you're really passionate about something, but you feel like there are these sort of like mental barriers that are stopping you, or even just like experience barriers, or it's just, or if you feel like you have to go up some kind of ladder, like get rid of that. And then what you do is, I mean, like what I did was I took so many I didn't have any money. I took so many free classes through the city. So I looked up every single city and municipal resource that I could find, and I had no idea how to start a business. I remember taking the class, like 10 steps to starting your own business. I probably took that 10 times because like I could not, it was so boring. Like there's so much information, like just about, getting, incorporating and all the sales tax information.
And so you just took all the free classes you could and then just went for it.
Yeah.
I once had a girlfriend say to me, you know, I was telling her, well, come on, just do it. She's like, well, you're lucky. You're not afraid of anything. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I'm afraid of something every day of my life, but I do it anyhow.
Yeah.
And that's like when you're putting it out there in the world. You know, I go onto a set and I'm like, okay, is this going to work? Are the lights going to work? What's going to happen? But you just do it, right? And
you have to follow the fear, because that's like the areas where you're going to grow.
I always said it's the Geiger counter for where the juice is.
Yeah,
like, because most people don't go there. And when you get on the other side of that fear, that's where all the good stuff is. Yeah, totally. But I love how you used your passions to really rise up for the community, to help the community during a difficult time.
I mean, I think, like, I love the way that you're telling your people's personal stories, and I feel like that's kind of, for me, even though I have a space, it's really about the relationships and the people that we meet, and everything's become much more vulnerable and personal, and I've even been like a little bit on social media, just more sharing my authentic story, and I feel like, you know, like that's what it is. It's like we're kind of taking off the masks of who we are, and
taking off the masks. I like that.
It's a little on the nose.
Good metaphor.
So
that's great.
Yeah.
Right, and that's what inspired me when the whole pandemic started, and you know, here I am back in Buffalo and running the station, and the owner was like, yeah, do a show to lift people's spirits, because I was feeling so helpless. I wanted to do more to help, and I'm like, I could do that, but you, beautiful lights, people like you who are doing this work, living your passions, really stepping up for the community, even in these difficult times, it makes all the difference in the world. And I love people knowing that, because it's an inspiration to everybody. Oh, well, Paige, thank you so much. Oh, you are amazing.
You're so sweet.
You too. I love it. Thank you for joining us today on this magical ride into passionate living. Join us each week on Tuesday and Thursday evenings at 8 and Sunday mornings at 11. Plus, you can view segments of our show on YouTube at passionateliving.tv or on our website at passionateliving.com. Our goal in producing the show is to inspire you to live your dreams, as your journey will end up affecting the world around you in a powerful way. We hope you'll join us each week as we journey into the realms of passionate living. Until our next adventure, remember to take at least one baby step to bring you a little closer to living your dreams.